Hello and welcome once again to The Blueprint. This is Canada's Conservative Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Schmale, Member of Parliament for Haliburton-Kawartha Lakes, with new content for you every single Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this program. Don't forget to tell your friends, too. They can download it on platforms like CastBox, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. You name it, it is out there. On today's show, Mark Carney, the Prime Minister, makes a national address. And, of course, 17% of the time, the Canada Revenue Agency is right every time. To talk about this and so much more, we bring on Sandra Cobena, Member of Parliament for Newmarket Aurora. Hopefully I got your name right. I've messed it up a million times. I'm so sorry.
That's perfect.
All right. We appreciate you coming on the show. Congratulations on your election. I know it was a few months ago, but
Yes.
First chance you've had to come on the show.
Yes, thank you for that.
But you've been very active. You're a member of the Finance Committee. You've been up in question period pretty much weekly, doing a fantastic job. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mark Carney, the Prime Minister, makes an address last week to Canadians. I'm not even actually sure what it was about. It just seemed to be a bunch of, word salads, whatever. But the big takeaway is, linking into our first topic, it will take some sacrifices, and it will take time. This seems to be the leftist way about doing something, right? We'll try a new government program, and if we fail, well, we just need more time, resources, and of course, your patient taxpayer, by the way, give us some more money.
That's right. Well, and the irony of the speech is that it was delivered to a room full of students, and him calling on the younger generations to make even more sacrifices. But we know that there is nothing to sacrifice anymore, right? They have been sacrificing for failed Liberal policies for the last 10 years. And so now the legacy continues. And he stood up and said, no, actually, you need to sacrifice even more because we're going to double down on those policies.
Yeah, well, you can't afford a house. You probably are having a tough time doing groceries, like going grocery shopping. The job market's a little shaky right now, but yeah, you're right. Make a few more sacrifices. You're right. What else is there left to sacrifice?
Well, that's the main feedback that I received, and there's a couple in Aurora that recently married. They have 5 jobs between the two of them, and they cannot afford a home, and they are delaying starting a family because they cannot afford it. So imagine that couple listening to the Prime Minister say, "Well, you're going to have to sacrifice even more." What is there to sacrifice? There is nothing to sacrifice. And then there's another gentleman, a welder in Newmarket, in my riding, that I was speaking to, and he said, all I'm asking is to be able to afford a house close to my parents because I don't want to go far away, that they are all I have. He's a welder. He's working long hours. What is there to sacrifice? And so I think that's what the frustration is from the next generation, not only because there's nothing to sacrifice today, but they are taking on so much debt that they are leaving us, my generation, my children's generation, with generational debt. Yeah. And so nobody seems to care about the numbers on the Liberal side, but it is a lot of debt that they're taking on. And when he's asking for sacrifices, I don't think that sits well with the people that are truly struggling.
Well, especially when the sacrifices will not affect Mark Carney and the Champagne Socialists.
That's right.
They won't be affected.
Yep.
They'll still be whining and dining large while the working class get hammered again until they figure it out.
Yep.
So we have the Parliamentary Budget Officer, a bit of an older clip, but still rings true to what we're talking about now. Play cut 1.
I think everybody should be concerned. It's a really serious day, right? This is the first time in 30 years that we've tabled an economic and fiscal outlook where the fiscal anchor of the general and probably most important fiscal anchor for any government is a declining or at least stable debt to GDP ratio. And this is the first time in 30 years that I've seen one in which that ratio is going up over time. So that's definitely a cause for concern.
So first time in 30 years, we've seen debt continuing to go up, and the fact that the GDP, so in essence, our ability to make stuff, is going down.
Well, and see
explain, as a member of the Finance Committee, this must shock you, right?
Well, what took me aback was actually the description of the parliamentary budget officer when he talked about our economic state. So he uses the words shocking, unsustainable, stupefying. And so as somebody who comes here to hear this for the first time, for instance, I thought to myself, well, this is really serious, right? And when he talks about the debt to GDP ratio going up, so things getting worse, it's also quite alarming, but it seems like it's only alarming to our side, not to the Liberal side. And so I am still shocked at how easily they are giving up this debt to GDP ratio that is supposed to be the fiscal anchor for Canada. And if you look at all the serious countries, G7 countries, that is their fiscal anchor. But it is getting so bad that this government is choosing to also give it up. And so now there's great concern because there is no accountability. And we know that the budget is coming, but it's going to be totally different. So for the first time in our nation's history, the budget will be split into two. But not only that, they are changing the definition of some of those expenses that would typically be operational, and they're calling it capital to make this side look better. But that's only obviously a communication strategy to confuse Canadians. And
Absolutely.
Again, calls into question, well, where is the accountability for this government?
Absolutely. We know the government has a great track record of picking winners and losers in the marketplace. The battery plants, billions of dollars. Stellantis is on the way out. We don't know where most of this money has gone, if it's being returned. You should be letting the market decide. But at the same time, these nation-building projects that were announced, most of them were already in the process. Some, including Darlington, had shovels in the ground already. But without addressing the ability to get our energy to market, to Tidewater, building pipelines, getting rid of the emissions cap, getting rid of the tanker ban, we'll never be building anything. There's no proponent that is going to line up, even though pieces of legislation the Liberals have passed allow them to circumvent the existing piece of legislation already in place. Why you don't address that is beyond me. But at the same time, there's easy fixes to this.
Absolutely. And if you take a step back on the major projects, for instance, I was talking to a gentleman in my riding in Aurora, and I said, now imagine just a simple park, a community park. And, the slide only works for some children, and the swings work for other children. And you go back to the manufacturer and say, can you just fix the park so that it works for all the children? And they will say, no. Just pick one or two, and we'll make sure that the park only works for two. Well, that's what they're doing at a national level, where they are saying, we pick who are the winners and losers. We pick who's going to make money and who's not. The rules clearly don't work, but we're going to make an exemption just for a select few. And guess what? We pick them.
Absolutely. That's why government loves big business, right? You can surround yourself with lawyers and lobbyists, and they can do what they do to the politicians, and the money just keeps on flowing.
That's right. And the small businesses will suffer because they cannot afford the expensive lawyers, expensive accountants, expensive lobbyists to be able to get these major projects.
Yeah, and it's always the small business that takes the brunt, unfortunately. Canada Revenue Agency, my goodness, another gem. And we got we got a laundry list here. My goodness, the Auditor General did a report on Canada Revenue Agency. It doesn't look too great for them. The biggest stat, I think, to come out of this, and we'll let the Auditor General, so maybe cue up cut two, is that 17% of the time, the Canada Revenue Agency was actually correct in giving out information. Yes. That's shocking. I'll get your comments. Let's play cut two, and I'll get your comments.
Auditors from my office placed calls to contact centers and asked general or non-account specific questions. We found that agents' responses to individual tax questions were accurate only 17% of the time, and business tax or benefit questions were accurate just only half of the time. To test the accuracy of agents' responses to account-specific questions, we reviewed a sample of recorded conversations. We found that the accuracy was much higher when questions pertained to specific accounts.
So what are your take? When you listen to that, what's your take?
Well, for the CRA to be to be wrong 83% of the time. That is if you actually get through.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
Because obviously you cannot get through. And so if you get through, you get the wrong information 83% of the time on individual tax questions. I don't think that gives people a lot of confidence here. We know that the Minister of Finance knew that this report was coming and that he knew how scathing it was going to be. So they, of course, tried to plan around it, plan. And so, but what that tells me is that this is obviously an ongoing issue that has been getting progressively worse. And they have not offered any fixes. And the Liberal tendency, the approach has typically been, well, throw more money at the problem.
Yes, of course.
But we see that the costs for the CRA continue to go up, but the issues also continue to go up. So it's very inefficient.
Maybe wishful thinking. Wouldn't it be a good idea to maybe simplify the tax code?
Yes, definitely wishful thinking.
Like to make it so complicated that regular people can't figure it out, where they have to call the Canada Revenue Agency, the administrator, and they're having trouble figuring it out. At that point, it should be like, maybe we should address this.
It's true. Because, I mean, they try to rely on AI as well. As you know, there's a chatbot called Charlie. But even Charlie got the answers wrong 2/3 of the time. So there is no hope. It's a serious issue. And I think what needs to happen here is they need to look at the fundamental issues of the CRA, right? And stop simplifying, the solutions and just throwing more money, because clearly it's not working.
No, it isn't working. I think there needs to be a simplification of the tax code to the point where regular Canadians don't have to wait online to get an operator. They don't have to go out and spend money on accountants. No offense to accountants, they're lovely people, but it's just gotten overly complicated where people just throw up their hands and have to turn to other methods in order to file their taxes, to do the right thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people have seen, but one of the latest news also has been with regards to the automatic tax filing, where there was a fraud that caused the CRA to pay out close to $5 million out to a company that only generates $250,000. And it wasn't even the CRA who caught it. It was actually the financial institution who caught it and had to call the CRA and say, I don't think this looks right. So there's a lot of money at stake, and it's taxpayer dollars, right? Yes. That are being wasted, are being mismanaged. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about costs and spending, it is Canadians' hard-earned income and the taxes that are paid from that are being wasted here.
And even during the pandemic, there were warning signs that money was leaving the government's hands and going to people not even living in Canada, or multiple accounts, or a wide range of fraudulent activities. And yes, the money did go to people who needed it, absolutely, and Conservatives supported that, but we did raise many red flags about the fact that there was the possibility and the reality of it actually happening, of fraudulent accounts and people getting money they weren't entitled to at all.
Yes, and there was no way to actually recover
that too.
Those funds, right? So that's why these policies that give away money so quickly are like, you have to think through what you're doing, because chances are you're not going to get those funds back. They go into debt or they're printing money, but then it's the next generations that are going to have to pay for it, right?
That's right.
So it's there are real consequences to overspending.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even some CRA employees managed to help themselves to some COVID relief funds too. Yes. So unbelievable. Anyway, we're pretty much out of time. Thank you for coming on the show. The guests always get the last word, so we allow the floor to go over to you, and you can sum up any way you'd like.
Well, I mean, there are some serious concerns, and of course we have the budget coming up on November the 4th. I am, as a member of the Finance Committee and as a finance professional, particularly concerned about the budget and the approach that they're taking to it, specifically with the redefinition of some of the expenses. The Parliamentary Budget Officer, as you know, is the budget watchdog, nonpartisan, and he has voiced his concerns. It blurs accountability. It goes outside of international standards, and this is the approach that they want to take to manipulate the budget so that the numbers look better. That is very wrong, and I'm particularly concerned about that in the future of the next generations with the amount of debt that are going to be left on the backs of the next generations.
Yeah, the next generation won't be better off, and that's a weird trend that we're now seeing. Yeah, so many years, so many decades, the next generation has always been better off, and now that's changed.
That's right.
Very unfortunate. Sandra, thank you very much for coming on.
No problem.
Sandra Cobena.
Got it.
There we go. Member of Parliament for Newmarket, Aurora. Thank you for your time.
No
Thank
problem.
you for yours as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this program. Tell your friends too. Download it on platforms like CastBox, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. New content for you every single Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Until next week, remember, low taxes, less government, more freedom. That's the blueprint.